a space for movement, mindset, and sustainable rhythm. This is Body Evolution.
Welcome to the Body Evolution podcast, where we make things simple, sustainable, and human. I'm Eliot Berenguer.
And I'm Repp. We break down fitness, nutrition habits, and energy through one lens, what actually works in real life. Let's do this.
Hey, Corey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Eliot?
Perfectly. And very happy to be starting here with our audience and having a beautiful conversation about what it is body evolution and why we create it.
Right. And first of all, welcome everybody who's joining us today. And this is our very first podcast. We're very excited about bringing this information to you. And obviously, there's a lot of fitness information out there, and a lot of programs, a lot of advice. And what we wanted this podcast to be is something that breaks it all down, makes it real, makes it human, and connects it to real life habits, real life things that you can implement, not one hardcore program that's almost impossible to follow that fits somebody else's life, not confusing, crazy claims that people sell you insane results that aren't going to happen. We want to create lasting health and habits that people can really integrate into their life and that can last them a lifetime. And so we wanted to bring this podcast out to inform people and to guide people through that.
And that's what we want to do with Body Evolution. Our concept is to bring a new lens of health, a new perspective, where we try to go away from all these trends and all the overwhelming and misinformation and rigid rules and all these concepts. We want to bring clarity to the process. We want to people understand how is everything working together in your health and how important is your mind, how important is your habits, your behaviors, your actions, but at the same time bring the clarity in how our body works, our movement, our nutrition, our sleep, a little bit overall to understand with clarity, and that there is not only one path. There are several paths to get to the same results always.
Exactly. And we each all have our own lifestyle, our own preferences, our own talents. And that's what we're all going to have our own unique path to what makes us the healthiest version of ourselves. And so with the modern struggle that everybody goes through is that everybody feels overwhelmed with everything bombarding them in their life. Not only the information in specific topics like health and fitness, but just everything. We're so overstimulated in our lives. People feel overwhelmed, they get exhausted, and they're confused by all this information. And so, like you said, we want to bring that clarity, that understanding of what really works, what's the science-based stuff. That's what we really want to bring to you, where the science is, where the science starts and where it stops, and where the opinion kind of stuff begins. And there are some possibilities that science hasn't proven something, but there's a lot of anecdotal evidence, and we're going to bring that stuff to you. But we'll label it that way and say, okay, the studies don't quite prove this out, but there's a lot of good evidence in this direction. So you might want to take that, for your own purposes. So a lot of things, we're just going to break it down so you're not so confused, because this whole system is crazy. Our healthcare system is more of a sick care system, and this health and fitness genre and this whole space in online and everything else, it's just so much. There's a lot of BS out there. People are trying to sell you things. People are trying to give you promises of things that don't quite work, or maybe it's a great program for that person and they're able to do that intensity, or their body responds to that specific thing. But the whole system is not built for people to really succeed. And so we want to break through that.
And as you are saying, Corey, and it's It's beautiful how you're explaining it. Is there is a lot about pushing people to exhaustion, so confusing and overwhelming messages. And as you say, we have a sick care system, and don't think that we are criticizing, because we need it. Of course, we need this to take care of the people when we get sick, when we have to get some surgery, or we have to do some process to keep our health in line. We need that, but we need to complement that care health system. We need to complement it with the other part, that is, hey, what about if we take care of ourselves before we get sick? How, if we can improve our life, but we need that system. We just want to add a new lens where you can be the owner of your own path of health,
Yeah.
and become a person who is more energized, more powerful, better performance, feeling good and looking good, and it's all together. So we just want to bring this new lens, and we want to begin to explain with more clarity to the people, as you were saying. There are programs that they are selling that are very, very like, you have to do this, and this is the only way, and it's not true. And some of these programs are going to be good for some people because of their mentality, of their lifestyle and everything, but it's not going to be good for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to explain in this process with this
Yeah.
beautiful podcast, is to bring those knowledge, those lenses, that everything is not for everybody. Each person have a bio individuality. Each person is different. Their metabolism works different. Their lifestyle is different. Their environment is different. So we want to give the opportunity to people to understand better how the body works, our mind works, and then they can experiment to find out what it works better for them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the clarity we're trying to bring for people out of this crazy amount of information. And so just sort of summarize with the modern struggle that people, people are feeling tired. They're stretched so thin, and so that they can't keep these consistencies when they try something new or try something that's really hard for them. Their efforts become inconsistent, and then they'll do one push, and then they'll fall back into old habits, and they'll get up and down, like try diet plans and routines, and they don't get results that last because they can't be consistent, because they're fighting it the whole time. So people know what to do. Well, I need to exercise more. I need to eat more healthy foods and less junk food. That's the basic information that everybody knows, and it's absolutely true. But how do you do that? How do you fit that into your life, and how do you know that you can sustain it? And that's the big trick, is to fit the right things into your life and be able to sustain it.
Yes, and the modern wellness trap is that confusion that you were saying, and it's like, hey, this person told me I have to do this, and this is the only thing, and the other one is telling me this other thing, and the other one, and it's so many contrarian crashing one with another, crashing and crashing, and so people doesn't know, okay, who I follow,
Mm-hmm.
who I trust,
Yep.
who what is the correct way to do it. Because some people is telling me this is bad, other people is telling me that this is the good thing, and there are
Yep.
misinformation in the path.
Yep.
So we want to bring that clarity. And there are some general things that are truth for everybody. But then there are other truths that are specific for different persons, different
Yeah.
cultures, different lifestyles, different metabolisms.
Yeah.
So there is not one thing fit for all. It's not one for everybody. And we have to understand that.
Yeah, there are so many paths, so many ways to be healthier. Nobody's going to be perfect at all of them. You got to choose your own recipe, and as it were, and find the things that work for you, find the things that fit for you. Yeah, there's some general rules, some general categories where you need to address, but there's no one specific program that works better than all the rest for you. It's your program that works best for you, and that's what we have to help. That's what, this body evolution movement that we're creating, and the program in this podcast is about that, is about teaching you the tools, teaching you the plethora of things and the concepts behind them, and then so that you can create your own recipe and create your own plan and find something sustainable for you.
And in health is a theme so big, so many things, so many areas to work in. And what we have been seeing is a lot of push hard, you have to be this discipline and you have to use this willpower and all these things. And we want to guide people to understand that is building a rhythm, is building a harmonious life, is what people will say balance. We call more harmony, like, hey, sometimes you have to do this, different seasons in the year, different situations, adapting and getting into the rhythm with your body and understanding the messages the body are telling you. And
Yeah.
we want to understand that, but at the same time is to understand that there is nothing wrong with the people right now.
Yep.
But what is wrong is the system, where it's so confusing. And all the social media is true, it brings a lot of quality information, but at the same time a lot of bad information. So we want to take out that noise out of the way and try to go to what actually works for people.
Yep.
And what we will explain sometimes may work for one person and not for other, and we want to be clear in that, and we want to bring a little bit more nuances of that. So body evolution will bring is a little bit more approach, bringing the science but making it more human, bringing it with more clarity. We want to root that create the roots for everybody to understand that one of the first steps is the mindset. And sometimes in a lot of all these trends and all these, they don't work the mindset. The mindset is so important, is where everything begins.
Yeah.
Everything begins in your mind, in how you perceive the world, and from there you begin to build up in front.
And how you perceive yourself. I mean, so this is where one of the core tenets of this system, this program, this philosophy is that it's rooted in your identity. And that's the thing about, we talk about your mindset and what keeps you consistent and what keeps you falling out of it, because whatever you identify with is what you're going to fall back into whenever life comes, when life happens, right? It is, there's no such thing as perfection, but if you have the identity of a person who, I have these healthy habits in my life, it's how I live my life. I'm not perfect at them, but I'm always going in this direction. Then when somebody gets sick or you have a vacation or there's the holidays, you're not going to be consistently in your best rhythm of habits. But when you fall back into your rhythm is what your identity and how you identify with is how you fall back into. And so your identity beforehand, it might be, oh, I'm not one of those healthy people. I'm not one of those gym people. I don't like the gym. All these things, these stories you tell yourself create your identity. And it's not easy to shift your identity, but that's sort of the process that we going to try to help guide people through, is like, we work on that identity thing. What does build your identity? It is that repetition of habit. It is that mindset in the stories you tell yourself. And that then begins to shape your identity through the neuroplasticity, creating new good pathways in your brain through all of that. And so that's why we really root it in, that mindset and that identity before we move into the science and then the planning and the setting up of what's going on. We got to work that into it. So that's what body evolution really brings. Tools to
Exactly.
work with your body, not against it.
Exactly. And I like it because it's part of our philosophy. Our philosophy is everything starts inside of you to make the change. And it's, as you were saying, the perspective. Like in this stress world, we are burning out, we're always stressed, we're running. But a lot of this is because it's what society is telling that it's what you have to do, or because of your country, your cultural space. There are so many perspectives that are not yours, are created from the exterior. So it's good that you begin to bring clarity to yourself, clarity of that identity, your perspective, helping what are your thoughts, what you are telling to yourself, but at the same time bring that uh, nonsense inside of you, like this new way, this new perspective of, okay, who could I be? Who I have the possibility to become? Because it's all about that. When you begin to see life in a different way with different perspective, is when you begin to root things and make behaviors be part of who you are. So they go from something of discipline or willpower, and they become part of who you are. You just do it because it's what you like, it's how you feel, it's part of you, and is the person you're becoming, because we are always in constant growth. Every day we are evolving, every day we're moving forward. So it's so important that we keep track that identity, that mindset, and the way we perceive world is going to dictate a lot of how we behave in it.
Yeah. So as we begin, before we get into sort of more descriptions about how we want to go forward, let's just start. I want you to join us. Take a nice deep breath. You're in the right place. This is going to be the beginning of your evolution. I hope you join us. We're gonna walk this journey with you step by step, and hopefully help you gain clarity, calm, and in a rhythm in your life that you can live and move forward with.
And talking about this, because I love it, and thank you for this stuff. We need a little bit of grounding, and is to bring you to is not only about identity and transformation, but we're going to bring so much perspectives of our philosophy and how we see that things can be in the wellness. And we're going to be talking about movement and fitness. We're going to be talking about nutrition. We're going to be talking about how to recover, sleep, rest. We're going to talk about emotional states. We're going to talk about connection, environment. Is so important, all these areas. So we're going to talk about this, but we're going to make something that is very important for everybody to understand. And is everything starts with micro actions. Everything starts with a little action we do in any of these areas that will create ripple effects that will begin to change. Sometimes people try to push too hard and do too many things at the same time, and it's not wrong. For some people it works. For some people that this is enough and go all in, it works, but not for the majority. And for the majority of us, we need a little step and a little step, and we began to walk the path.
Mm.
And we're going to be here to through this journey to be with you step by step. And we want to create that harmony. We want to create that harmony that don't go to the extremes. Try things. Go little. Oh, this thing doesn't work for me, but this one works really good for me. So this is part of our process, and we want to make clear that it's so important to understand that hey, we all gonna fail from time to time. We're gonna sleep, and that's part of the process. We're not perfect. We don't born with everything already ingrained. So it's so important the returning to the path. Sometimes you begin to walk, you sleep, you go a little bit to the side, just return. And
Yeah.
the important thing is that that gap, returning, is going to be each time closing and closing and closing until it becomes part of you. It becomes part of your daily, of your routine, of your behavior. So we want to make people to understand that one of the things that make people they like slip out of the wagon and then they quit. That's the real fail, is when you quit completely and you stop trying it. The idea is you begin to walk the path, you sleep, okay, and you return, and you
Mm.
return, and that's part of our
Yeah.
process too.
Yeah. And so it's returning to that groove that you create and that rhythm that you're trying to do. And again, you talked about the micro actions, which are important because and some people might think, well, that's not enough. If I just commit to doing a short walk in the morning, and if I just commit to cutting out a little bit of junk food, then that's not going to be enough. I won't get to my goals. That's just the start. It's what gets that snowball rolling. Or like with an engine, you got to get that starter motor run to get the engine going by itself. So there is a start, and willpower only takes you so far. To find those micro actions that actually fit in your life, you begin to get a feel for it. It's like, oh, I'm doing something healthy. I can do this next step. And it snowballs into something where these bigger actions become easier to take on. And so that's where we say that these micro actions are important, but to create rhythm and to create that harmony. And we're not going to extremes. And if you love the extremes, or if you have a workout partner and you want to, and you help with that accountability and that willpower, then you want to take on a lot, go for it, but don't do it to the point of burnout. Always have that baseline of what is defining you, what is your rhythm, what is sustainable for your life. And that's why, you know, we say transformation. This transformation is a return. It's always returning to your baseline, or returning to your ideal rhythm, but it's also just returning to loving your body, loving yourself, realizing your body is a great part of you. You're not fighting your body. It is not reinventing who you are. It is sort of returning to that connection with your body.
And I love what you just say is making it sustainable. It's like if you want to learn something and you go like, okay, I want to, I don't know, I want to begin to read like a CEO, and I want to read a book a week, and you were never reading,
Yeah.
trust me, maybe you do it the first week with one book and you put all the hours, but is sustainable? Is the rhythm? Is something that is ingrained in you? No. So you begin, okay, I'm gonna read every day a little bit, and that's all. And sometimes you will go farther, and other times you will stop with that little bit. But if you begin to do it daily, and it becomes part of you, when less you thinking about it, you're reading a lot every day. So this is the same process when you are starting in this journey. You have to understand that sometimes we're pushing to get results really fast, but the body functions different. The body needs adaptation. Our mind needs adaptation to the new rhythms we're inculcating. We are putting inside some new rhythms, and we have to adapt to them, but it's very important to have the long perspective, being sustainable. Because yes, you can go to the gym 2 3 hours a day if you want. Can you sustain that long term in your life? Not, the majority will not have. They have kids, they have life, they have jobs, circumstances. So you have to think about long term what is going to be sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
But talking about all this, and I think that right now people is understanding a little bit our perspective and philosophy, but I want them to know who we are. So can you, Corey, tell us a little bit your path? What took you to the
Right.
wellness and coaching?
Yeah. Thanks, Eliot. Yeah, my name is Corey Repp, and I have been uh, into health and fitness kind of as long as I can remember. I didn't, get wholly into it till I was in my teen years, when I was really trying to, get into but I was played sports always as a kid. My dad was into health and fitness, so I really had this kind of automatic introduction into it, and it kind of naturally became part of who I am. So I didn't have that struggle of shifting my identity into the person who's healthy and takes care of themselves. But I did go through the struggles in life, right? Because I was a professional engineer for most of my career, and I've got married and had kids, and so my automatic love for fitness and going to the gym for, like you said, a couple hours, not every day, but several days a week, and I was spent a lot of time on it, and I was like that's who I was. I felt good, and I loved helping other people with it along the way. It was like that was something that my friends, oh Corey, like, show me this or show me that. So get a workout with a friend. Most times they wouldn't want to work out with me again because they were a little bit more sore when they after they worked out with me. but yeah, but no, once I got married and had a family and I had my professional career is getting more demanding, I wasn't able to spend that time in the gym, and I felt like, oh my god, what is just that part of me, that I had such pride in, it was going down the tubes. I didn't, I feel like I was going to lose my athletic ability. Was still trying to play sports, and be competitive and sort of know my body and know what I can do. And I didn't want that. I don't want to lose that. So I was like, I'm not making it to the gym. I'm not spending the time that I used to be able to spend. How am I going to keep this part of me? And so I was like, I just got to get to the gym. I'll do whatever I can when I'm there. I only got a half hour today, so I'm going to see what I can get done. I realized that I could really get the bulk of the really meaty stuff, the stuff that really mattered. I could handle in a small trip to the gym. A lot of the stuff I was doing, yeah, it's great, but it's kind of extra. It didn't, and I learned more and more, and I studied more and more about fitness and health and learning what the science says about what really works. And it's like, oh, I don't need to do all this extra stuff. I mean, it's great for rounding things out. It's great for people who have the time, but it's like, oh, I can do this in a lot of shorter time. So yeah, that was great. And so then I also got into my own personal growth path. I've always been learning and trying to get better and trying to improve myself. And when I do that, um, I realized that my engineering career wasn't really wasn't firing me on all cylinders. That wasn't something that I loved to do, but loving to help people with who they are and learning more about it myself was my passion. And so I was like, I'm going to spend my life creating something that is my passion. And so I followed along that, and that's how I started coaching. And that's why I'm here now as I continue my path of learning and helping people and helping people realize the stuff that really matters and stuff that really works for them.
That, I love it. I love it, and it's a beautiful path and realization you had. What made you feel that you needed to help other? What was the struggle you were seeing in the industry of wellness, or what was what
Oh
you were
yeah.
hearing from your friends or people
Yeah.
that you say, you know what, I need to help people in
Yeah.
this.
Because yeah, so many people I ran into, not only friends, but also as I started to coach clients, just weren't able to they couldn't put it into their life, right? And so they just weren't able to be successful. They weren't able to be consistent. And as we've been talking about, in the introduction here, is that I was realizing that yeah, it's because it's always antithetical to who they are. It's always something they're struggling to make happen on a temporary basis. It's like I'll just push myself into this because I need to do it, as opposed to really owning it and changing who they are. So that's where it's like I realized that was happening. That people were not being successful. They were getting frustrated, and they also there was always the excuse, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. And so the ultra efficient and the really bang for your buck stuff that and I can do my workouts in very little time, and my whole time spent on actually working out in my is pretty minimal, and people don't understand. It's like yeah, it actually can work when you don't spend that much time if you do it right. You guys got to learn what works and what the bang for your buck stuff is, which is what we're adding to this body evolution process. So how about you,
That's
Elliot?
beautiful.
Tell me
Well,
how you got here.
oh, that's it's completely different from your path, bro. It's completely different. In my case, well, when I was young, I loved sports and I was playing sports and everything. When I was a kid, like any kid, you like to run, jump, and everything. And for some time was good, but hey, life happens. Struggles happens at home. Things happens, and there was a moment that I began to gain weight. I was eating a lot of candy and sweet tooth, and. Uh, but the biggest struggle was when I hit with an injury in my lower back. It was very painful, and for some time I was suffering. I began to go to the doctors, and sadly, they give me a bad advice, but they told me that I should stop doing team sports, where there's too much impact or contact. They tell me not to do too much weights and not going to the gym. They told me to only do like stretchings, and that's all, and that I needed to lose weight. So I stopped doing a lot of things, and then I started this loop for years and years where I was trying to lose weight. I did diets and everything, and it was a very painful process and frustrating process because I was losing weight, but then I was gaining it. Even when I was losing the weight, the pain wasn't disappearing, and I was trying different things, and for years it went like that. And I had this fixed mindset. Um, my body is broken, it doesn't work, this is going to be forever like that. And they were telling me that I needed to do surgery, and I really didn't want. I didn't want to make surgery, so I went to several doctors until one told me, oh no, no, you should be training, you should be doing this stuff. I said, oh. It opened my eyes, but from a lot of different doctors. This one gave me this nuance, and I began to try things. But everything shifted in a moment when I decided. The only moment when everything changed was when I decided to change my mind. So I began to work in my mind. I began to read books, hear podcasts. I began to explore about behavior, mindset, and everything. And once I stopped trying, for one side, stopped running from the fear of pain, that it was controlling me, and the other that is when I start like, oh, I can become whoever I want to become. I stop having that fixed mindset, and that two realizations make me get the motivation, and I begin to go farther, and I begin to explore things, and I begin to apply them, and I began to go to the gym and everything, and everything changed. The biggest concept was, for a long time I wanted to go away from the pain or and look good. That were like my two main things that were pushing me. When I changed that and I reframe it like, I just want to be healthy.
Mm.
I just want to feel good. That's what I want. I want to feel good in my body. I want to be able that my body allows me to explore the world, have the adventures I want to have, do exercise, run, sports. I want to live again like that. And I began to focus on being healthy. Finally, the pain disappeared, and I began to look better. So the two things were a collateral thing on my path. So that took me to this process. And for a long time, I was working as a manager of a restaurant. I have been working in hotels and different areas, but I was always missing this thing. And when I transformed myself and I changed myself, my identity and my health, I get so inspired. For first time in my life, I want to help others going through the same process than me and achieve transforming the life in a beautiful way. I wanted to inspire people that everything is possible. I'm not here to teach them. I'm here just to give that little push and helping you, guiding you that everything is possible. If I could do it and I can change it, come on, everybody can do it. I was in this loophole, and some people will say, "Oh, come on." No, it's true. It's true. Once you change your mindset, everything is possible, and that's what brings me here to the process of coaching, that wanting to help other people. And I don't want them to go through the whole process I did, reading like 200 books, doing certifications and courses and hours to get the results. It took me a long time, but now I want to shortcut that process for people, that that they can learn to experiment, they learn the tools in a little bit faster way, but still we know that they have to take their effort, they have to put the dedication, their commitment, but I want to shortcut that. And it's funny because all this, especially when we were doing the certifications where we met, and it was amazing when we connected, and I began to see that we have a very similar philosophy. Even our paths are completely different how we get there. We have a very similar perspective of what is needed in the wellness industry, what is needed to become healthy. And I love it. And that's what make us start all this process of body evolution.
Right,
I
right.
love it.
Yeah. So thanks, Elliot. Yeah, and it is great that I think that because you and I both have done a lot of studying, a lot of learning, and there are some basic truths that we've both discovered, and we gonna, like you said, you want to shortcut that for people, and that's what a coach can do, right? We've done the study, and let us distill all that knowledge down for you and make it usable, and then guide you along the path. So let's describe for people what body evolution actually is, and we've kind of talked around the philosophy and talked about some general things, but let's talk about what we actually created here and what we're actually trying to help people out with. Can you help describe that for us?
So the main is, as you were saying before, we have been hearing people, oh, I don't have time, it's too hard, it's confusing, I don't know what I have to do. Oh, I tried this and it didn't work. So we have heard all this. So we have been creating this. This podcast and the program is to bring that clarity, the structure for people that is busy, that they don't have time, to bring a little bit our concept about 80/20. That is the principle of 80/20, to see where you can invest an amount of time to get 80% of the results without going crazy. We want to bring people those little things, those micro actions that can begin to create ripple effects and bring to their health, uh, like, oh my God, I'm just investing this time or doing these actions, and I'm getting these in return. So that's what we wanted to create with the structure. And what for that we wanted to bring like simple tools that people can apply, and that they can experiment, and a lot of alignment with their identity.
Mm-hmm.
So in what we want to actually bring is, hey, let's create a new perspective. Let's stop. If we continue looking, I don't know, social media, it gets frustrated because it's too much, and it's a lot of information. So we want to create that, take it away. Let's create a beautiful perspective of you,
Mm-hmm.
of what you can become of your body. So this is the process of what body evolution actually does.
Yeah.
But aside of that, if you want to explain a little bit more about the structure.
Yeah. It like you said, it's a structured path. We address, you know, that the simple tools and the micro actions is how you build this new identity. So the things that really go through this process, and as you go through this is more of a structured process. If you go through the program that we've created, that is step by step and gets you into that new identity with small actions, with sustainable things. So in simple things that really are effective so that they build up momentum for you. So it's not about extremes, and we're not, there's no guilt-based motivation. There's no, intensity to it. It is finding your particular rhythm, experimentation, working toward it. And so it is not about this extreme. It's not about these diet culture where you have a specific diet you have to follow for a specific amount of time. Yes, we're going to teach you about all these diets, and you can experiment with them to find out which types of dieting works for you, which type of diet strategy works for you. I don't want to see it dieting because that's always implies this temporary push, but and it's not the all or nothing, where you're all in, you have to do this every day for so long or else you're done. It's not all or nothing. Life is not all or nothing. There's no such thing as perfection. I'm not perfect with my workouts. You're not perfect with your workouts. I have my little binges on sweets. There's no perfection. There's only progress. There's only trying to find that rhythm. And so it's not about punishing yourself. It's not about, and even the stuff that is a little bit of hard work, it's about doing it for yourself. It's not about punishment. It is about celebrating and achieving with your body,
Yes.
not against it. So we ultimately trying to help people as a goal feel at home in their bodies again, and feel clarity about a path moving forward so that they can do it sustainably for their life.
Yes. And and resume what we want to bring, what we want to bring in the wellness industry uh, is, as you were saying, diet have been misunderstanding the word. People thinking diet is to lose weight. No, diet is what we eat. Any animal, a plant, everyone have a diet as a living creature. We have diets. That is what we naturally eat. But for better understanding, what we want to bring is how to nourish your body. We want to bring the concept of how to move functionally, to train the strength, your cardio, the different areas, the stretching, and how to take care of your joints, and all this part of the movement is all together. We want to bring tools to how to recover, how to rest, how to improve your sleep. We want to bring, so important, how to manage your stress levels, how to be more resilient in life, how to bring adaptation so when life changes, you can adapt to different circumstances and you can keep on working on it, and you will make the small changes. And we will bring to how important in the path of health is connections, connection with yourself, connection with the nature, with animals, and connection with other beings. Connections is fundamental for us to understand that connection is part of our health. You can do everything else perfect. You can do the nutrition, the fitness, the sleep, everything perfect. But if you are overstressed and you are alone and feeling lonely, you're still gonna be having a lot of struggles with your health. We need everything together. It's a pack, and that's what we bring with Body Evolution, and it's part of the most important aspect is that everything works together. Our body and our mind works together, and there are different aspects that we always have to take care about. And the connection is so important that when we do these things with other people are easier to become part of our identity, are easier to become part of our behavior, habits, and the actions we do when we do it all together. So I wanted to ask you, Corey, in this beautiful podcast, what our listeners can expect from this podcast that we're bringing on.
Well, yeah, as we go forward, we just described kind of the body evolution process, and it's in the program that we offer. But the podcast itself, we're going to bring regular episodes. I'm sorry, my dog's a little bit jumpy right now.
Part of life.
Yeah, I know it. So
Huh.
this podcast, as we go, um, it will be a regular scheduled podcast, at least once every 2 weeks. And I think right at the beginning we might release them a little bit faster so that you guys can get a feel for us. But we're going to offer each week tools, frameworks, simple shifts that people can do on specific topics. And we're going to take suggestions. We're going to have possibly some other professionals and experts come in on different specific topics that people might want to hear about. And so you'll hear specific topics that are of interest or that you want more clarity on. And like I said, we'll give you some tools, some frameworks, and simple shifts that you can do in your life along with these topics. And we're going to get really into like raw conversations. What brought us here, what our experiences are. You can get to know us a little bit better, hopefully, as we go through, and just sort of say like, this is what's real. This is not some ideal. Nobody's perfect. We're not perfect. These are the stumbles that we've had along the way. And so
Yes.
with that, we're going to give that gentle guidance and that sort of help you in the same path in ways that we know it's difficult, that we know it's not all at once. We know it's not you're going to be perfect, so here's the perfect science that you can just do it right now. It is let's make these small changes, and here's these little tools. And so
I
in
love it.
in general, the podcast it's a place that we can all evolve at our own pace, and hopefully we can give you that guidance.
Yes, and we want to make all of you participate in the process. We want to connect with all of you. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to, uh, where, where where are your biggest struggles? What things we can talk about that can really help you? And we want to explore. And in this process, in this podcast, it's not only what we bring to all of you as following us and listening us, but it's the process of us together. As Corey and me, we begin to grow, we begin to learn from the people we interview, for the interactions we're having with people. So it's a process for everybody to learn. It's for us to learn. So this podcast is to be open, to share with you our perspectives, philosophies, our knowledge, what we discover new, what things can work, what other things we should be avoiding. So it's talking a little bit about everything about health and wellness. And we want to bring that clarity. We want to be as open as possible. And as Corey say, to have real raw conversations, just open and share. And yes, it's going to be a beautiful journey. And we like them, all of you, to come with this journey where we're going to be guiding you step by step in the journey. And at the same time, we're going to be learning. So that's beautiful. And I just want to tell all our listeners that just follow us, start your evolution here with us. Let's begin to walk this path together. Together we make it stronger. Together we learn more and we can help each other. So let's do this together and let's do it with clarity, with good rhythm, and let's embody this evolution.
Exactly. Thank you, Eliot. And yeah, I want to welcome everybody as well, and thank everybody for joining us. It's been great first episode. I've had fun so far, and we're just gonna make it more and better for each of you. So if you liked it, please hit that like, please subscribe, comment below if you have any questions, concerns, or if you have some topics you want us to cover. We'd love to hear from you. We'll definitely respond to the comments. And again, thank you for being here with us. We have our program, obviously, that we mentioned. So if you want to learn more about that, please visit us at body-evolve.com, and that will be in the show notes, the links. And also, we're just launching that program, so you could get in early bird specials, and so we're sort of pre-selling it. So we got some good deals on that as we go forward. And tell them we got a free guide that you can click on
Yes.
again in the link below and become sort of part of our community. But the free guide gives you some really good starting points for most general areas of health in terms of some suggestions on where to start, and some really good bang for your buck, simple sort of micro actions that you can get your ball rolling with that micro guide. So check it out, and we hope to see you next time.
Yes, and one last thing I wanted to share is if you don't know where you are in your process of health and where you're standing, we have an assessment that you can go through, and it will tell you a little bit in what areas of your health and journey and wellness you are a little bit lower and you have to put a little bit more energy, more intention to bring a little bit more changes. So, as Corey was sharing, we have an assessment where you can know where you are standing. We have a free guide to help you with some actions that you can start doing today in different areas to begin to move the needle a little bit and get a little bit in the rhythm. And as Corey was saying too, this is a beautiful space for all of you. You can follow us in the web. Please subscribe, follow us in Spotify or Apple, in any platform or YouTube that are following and hearing us. And aside of that, just want to tell you that if you like what you're hearing, if you like what the perspective we're bringing, if you like this rhythm and you want to gain some clarity, just let's continue together. Let's move forward together. And we love to have you here, be part of this conversation with us. And please, let's do this. Let's make this
All
happen.
right, let's do this. Thank you, Eliot.